Friendliness gives the confidence to communicate, and in dementia facilities it's very important that confidence is built enough to be able to communicate in a friendly way with other residents, because the warmth of human kindness goes a long way in a dementia unit, and people, the residents there, need to be able to make friends, not just to pass the time of day, but to be able to develop a community. I mean, they're living there now, often for years at a time, sometimes up to 5-6 years these people can be living there. So without friendship, it's a very barren, cold world. Whereas if they can build their confidence and communication skills and communicate with each other and make friends, then they can, have a nice daily routine. They can have friendships throughout the day, at the dining table. They can get to know their next door neighbours, and it's like a little neighbourhood, a little community that they can live in and enjoy. And time can pass well for these people, as it would in any community, if positive aspects are put in place to be able to achieve this. A lot of it being education on the part of staff, residents and relatives. Everyone really needs to be communicated and educated. It needs to be communicated to people that these communities can be established. So to get back to this aspect of confidence building and how the residents that I worked at managed to build up their confidence enough to be able to create friendships. Well, the workshops, of course, was the start of it, which I've gone into a lot, and positive thinking being the big theme there, and topics of interest were always around positive thinking, confidence building, technology of the last 100 years, they always enjoyed, and animal programs, David Attenborough, and of course for leisure and pleasure, The Crown. So that was really the mix of it, this essential mix of the work with the dementia residents, and how they started to improve and increase their concentration, their confidence, and have then the courage to communicate. But the first aspect of communication from outside the workshop actually happened at the window seats. Interestingly, the sunny window alcoves, of which there were 4 at the dementia facility I worked at, 8 seats for 30 people. And it's just like people gravitate to the sun. Well, they certainly do in dementia units. They gravitate to the sun and the windows because that's where all the activity's happening. Looking outside, the cars, people coming and going, the trees, the leaves, the birds, the sun, aeroplanes, whatever's going on. They can't walk out there, but they can see out there. And window seats are prized positions in dementia units. So that being the prized seat, it was from there that communication started, when 2 people are sitting looking at a lovely view, say, and there's something of interest. They might see an aeroplane going by, or it's autumn and the leaves are falling off the trees, or the roses have come out, or the daffodils have come out. They can talk about that and see that. And that was how the communication established at those window seats. And then the third, so from the workshops to the window seats, and then the third lot of independent communication happened at the dining room tables. I mean, initially there was no communication at the dining room tables. People would just sit and eat and that was it. But because of this process of initially coming to the workshops, and they weren't initiating conversation at the workshops. It took actually a whole year before they would initiate conversation at the workshops, but they would communicate with me and with each other when they were, encouraged to. But the first lot of initiation of conversation happened at the window seats, and then very soon after, the initiation of conversation happened at the dining tables with each other, because usually it's the same 4 people at a dining table, so they get to see each other breakfast, lunch and dinner. So it's a good way to be able to get to know people, because you're seeing them like 3 times a day, which is a lot of time. At each meal you might be sitting there for 45 minutes or maybe an hour for the main meal. So initiating conversation there and friendliness there really helped the unit, because yeah, there was a lot of conversation that happened at the dining tables, and that was really, I think, where the community started to develop, like totally, like because of the communication happening, not just sporadically at the window seat or at the workshops when they came, but because they were seeing each other 3 times a day. Once they started to communicate, and then that was happening on such a regular basis, daily, 7 days a week, ad infinitum, the communication skills started to build up. And probably the ultimate really was when they started to communicate independently and taking the initiative to communicate independently with their next door neighbours. That was really when the real community happened. Just like, you know, your next door neighbour that you communicate with over the fence. Once they actually started to know that their next door neighbour, go into their room and say good night or good morning or how are you or do you need anything, just in a neighbourly way, and then getting to know the neighbour across the corridor and helping out or having a chat. That was really when you could feel and see the community ethos coming into play, and so much more happiness and relaxation, and just a natural, happy, healthy community. The residents were happy, albeit memory loss. Never mind, they got around that. You know, you didn't refer to what they had for breakfast, but you'd just communicate and work through, you know, other means of communication that involved a different channel of thinking. And so they were able to work out how to do that and communicated with each other and had a nice life. So it can be done in dementia units when all these steps are taken to work through, you know, positively working through building the confidence and the concentration. Oh, firstly the concentration, and then the confidence with that concentration, then the courage to communicate, and with that communication, making friends and establishing community. It needs to go through all those steps to reach the point of having a positive, pleasant community in a dementia facility. So the 2 books I've written, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, and you can get those on Amazon. The excerpts on both books are on Amazon, the first 1 or 2 chapters if you want to read it, and then also on my website description below. So they're good, easy reading books. The first half of the book is a novel, so it's like days of our lives in a dementia unit, bringing up all these issues that, you know, we're going through here in the videos. There's so many aspects, you know, to learn and to get to grips with. So in the novel, all the aspects are referred to from the dementia resident's perspective, and then the second half is the epilogues, all the descriptions of the positive practical techniques to help dementia residents, which I've also done in the epilogues here. So thank you for your subscriptions and likes and viewing. Please pass on to people who are affected by dementia who you think would be helped by this work, and please subscribe if you're finding these videos interesting. It's all a great help to get things up and running. Thank you.